Welcome everyone to the City of Middletown Planning Board meeting, August the 5th, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing this evening, I'm going to do some housekeeping for our transcriptionist. Mr. Brito is absent this evening. Mr. Krogan, Planning Board Attorney, is here. Sixto Martinez, DPW representative, is here. Andrew Witkowski is here, Middletown Fire Department representative. Okay, moving on for the acceptance of the July 8th, 2026 minutes. I need a motion. Mr. Higbee, second by Ms. Dupree. Discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Higbee?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. Moving on, just so everyone knows, I'm going to point out anyone who's here for the first time, it's an appearance as is considered a preliminary hearing, and the planning board may or may not choose to act on your vote or on your application this evening. First on the agenda, Renee Freeman, 8 to 10 Stanton Auto Repair Shop. Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
Use which one? Either one?
Wired one. The wired one that you use.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Gerald Jacobowitz. Jacobowitz and Associates Law Firm. We represent Renee Freeman, who's your applicant. This property is at 10 Stanton Street in the city. Mr. Freeman is engaged in the business of repairing and improving motor vehicles for his own account. He doesn't do work on other people's vehicles. He only does work on the ones that he salvages, puts them in shape, register capability, insurable, and then disposes of them in the sale. The building in which he's doing this has been in use for this kind of use goes quite a ways back. He acquired it in 1992, and he acquired it because his business in Rockland County, the same business, was condemned by the state of New York, and therefore he had to leave those premises. They gave him money. He said, I need a place where I can continue to do my business, and with the assistance of the state, they located the property on 10 Stanton Street, and he acquired it with the proceeds that he received from the condemnation. And he then engaged in the same business at 10 Stanton as he had engaged in Rockland County for many years.
Good, thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, no problem. That's
Want to
good.
know more? Well,
No, I think you've explained what you were out here for this evening. Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? Okay, then we'll open the public hearing. Anyone here wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one coming forward. I'll go to the board for any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay.
Mr. Martinez, any issues?
Presently, no issues.
Mr. Witkowski, any issues?
No issues.
Thank you.
I'll go back to the public one more time. Anyone wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one coming forward. I want to close the public hearing. I need a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Madden, I need a second. Ms. Dupree, all in favor? Aye. Public hearing has been closed. I'll go back to the board one more time. Questions, comments, or concerns? None being had. On the resolution for Renee Freeman, 8 to 10 Stanton Motor Vehicle Body Repair Shop, I need a motion. Excuse me, Mr. McCormick, I need a second. Need a second. Mr. Madden? Discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Higbee?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, members
luck.
of the board. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the attorney as well.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Next on the list, the agenda is Fresh Finest LLC, 11 to 25 Harding Warehouse. Please step forward, sir.
Hi,
Give us your name, please,
my name is Chaim Rosenberg.
and what's your
On behalf
intent
of Fresh Finance. I operate and manage the company.
of the warehouse.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Ms. Two, do we have the mailings? Then I'll open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one coming forward, I'll go to the board for any questions, comments, or concerns. Yes, Mr. Madden?
Can you just explain a little bit more fully about what will be happening in this warehouse?
Yeah, so we are a,
Talk into the mic and loud.
yeah, sure. We're a online retailer. We sell food across the country. So we're basically getting food there and sending it out. Packaging and sending it out.
Averaging just 2 trucks in, 2 trucks out each week?
Approximately.
Any other questions?
Mr. Martinez, any concerns?
My only concern is I didn't see food last time I was in there. Seemed like a Amazon-type warehouse, so the food is new to me.
The food was a secondary thing that which is not supposed to be taking place, but the warehousing is, the Amazon or the packaging. And I believe the applicant has been fully informed that if he decides to do anything else besides that, he needs to come back.
Right.
Applicant aware?
Yes.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
But food is allowable.
It can be, yes. What we're saying is, this application that he is before you does not say food. It's a warehouse condition. That was brought to us. And we approve that. It's been a warehouse since 1930 or something like that, so we understand that. So he's using it for the typical purpose and zone purpose. Yes, sir.
I'm just challenged. Are we concerned that he's shipping food? Does it matter if he's shipping food or paper clips?
No.
Oh, okay, that's what
It just wasn't readily told to us.
Gotcha.
So this board likes to be aware so that when our inspectors go there, we've approved something, they know what's going on.
So when you said he'd have to come back, what would necessitate his reappearance before the planning board?
Whatever he plans to do for food. We don't know exactly. All he plans on doing is bringing bulk in, breaking that bulk down
Right.
into individual shipments.
Okay, that's how I had understood it.
Me too.
Okay,
But we want to make sure that's what he sticks to.
understood. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Witt?
Will there be refrigeration or freezer on the premises?
No.
So the food that you're going to be doing is just canned goods, or is it fresh food, or,
Shelf life items.
okay, so it'd be all packaged then? Right.
Anyone else? Any other questions?
Mr. Wachowski, any concerns?
No, I had a conversation with him about the food, whether it was going to be something that was prepared, like in need of a commercial kitchen. He explained to me that that was not his intent to cook food on the premise, that it was going to be brought in bulk and repackaged and sent out in smaller shipments, that there wasn't any kind of cooking or that type of process on the scene.
Back to the public. Anyone wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one coming forward. I need a motion to close the public hearing. Ms. Witt, second. Ms. Dupree, all in favor? Aye. Public hearing being closed. I'll go to the board one more time. Any questions, comments, or concerns? None being had. On the resolution, Fresh Finest LLC, 11 to 25 Harding Street, warehousing. I need a motion. Mr. McCormick, second. Ms. Witt, discussion. Roll call. Mr. Madden.
Yes.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Swit?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Higbee?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck. Next on the agenda, Mr. Norman Klein, 52 Cottage Street, 9 short-term rental units.
Good evening. My name is Norman Klein. Good evening, board. Sure.
Mr. Klein, just speak up a little bit, please.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Once again. Okay. Hi. My name is Norman Klein. Good evening to chairman and board members. I'm here tonight to represent my application for 52 Cottage Street LLC. This property is located on 52 Cottage Street. It's built 1910. It's on the building. It's currently there are 15 small studios, and there's a old 3 two-bedroom apartments, and we're looking to convert this 3-bedroom apartments each to 3 studios. So it will be 3 times 3, which will be total 9, and so it's going to be just one use of 24 studios, short-term rentals versus a mix, which was 15 and 3.
Thank you. Ms. Tu, do we have the mailings? In that case, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one stepping forward. I'll go to the board for any questions, comments, and concerns.
The zoning was changed to accommodate Airbnb, and that's what this applicant is doing. So it's in accordance with the resolution that was passed by the Common Council.
And, yes.
And just for the record, that resolution was limiting those Airbnbs to certain streets and corridors in the city, correct?
Yes.
There is an Airbnb zone. And we have tried to follow the resolution as closely as possible and added any items through our discussions with Mr. Klein.
And this property originally, when it was built in 1910, it was built for a hotel. It was, was always a short-term rental till the 80s.
Right. Mr. Madden, you have a question?
Are the parking needs addressed for adding this many additional units?
Unfortunately, it's also in the DMU, I believe, so it doesn't apply. And I think in even the Airbnb resolution, I think it addresses parking also.
It is addressed.
Yes.
And also include into the plans parking, just, because this was not originally with the building, but we did an investment. We purchased the property across the street of 52 Cottage Street, which is on page 5, which we get 22 private parkings for our residents. To addition, which was in the back of the property, only 6 parking. We add a couple years ago additional parking. So.
But is there any agreement between these parcels so that that parking will serve this building? We've required that in the past of other projects.
Do you have agreement with those property owners?
No, we own it.
Oh, they own it. They own the property.
And well, what if they sell?
What do you mean?
You sell the parking, keep the building with the short-term rentals. Now, where's parking? I don't believe it's a DMU.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. I won. My apologies.
At the parking is
can make
owned
it part of
by
it.
the same LLC.
The resolution.
But if it's a separate parcel,
Right,
you could sell that.
Right. Yes.
We've required like leases in the past, 99-year leases or something where,
Mr. Madden has a point. We're taking a look at the resolution just a moment and see if it's included.
The resolution from the Common Council. That's not here. This is planning board.
It only mentions it.
Right.
It doesn't.
But do we have a copy of that resolution?
Do we have a copy of the Common Council's resolution for the Airbnbs? A hard copy? You want it?
Yeah.
Would you get it, please?
And it's technically, with the bank, we have the same issue because they want to know the parking, so they did a lien on the parking as well. So it is now combined, but we could still, there's a procedure to separate it, but it's combined as of now. Because, the parking brings a value to the property.
Mr. Madden makes a point. We're just double checking.
Is there any other questions from the board?
Yes.
I noticed the resolution says each unit has to be 200 square feet. There is a unit listed on the map that's 197 square feet.
Oh, that,
The one we saw was all 200,
Yeah.
200 plus. I don't know which one you have there.
that was only a draft.
Oh, okay.
What that resolution didn't go. We went to 150 square feet.
Yeah, the actual common council limits it to 150 square.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Klein went over and above a little bit, and we gave him that. We put that in the resolution to make sure that he would maintain that 200.
I understand. Do all units have bathrooms?
Yes.
That's part of the resolution that they're required to.
There used to be a boarding house, a couple years ago, but it's no longer boarding. And every unit has their, like, a small studio full, so it could.
Will the tenants still be remaining on the bottom floor,
The commercial, yes.
the commercial?
As far as I know, too, in the original application, he didn't tell us about the 25 parking spots.
No.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Will an updated, so if the drawings that we have here are drafts, will we upload a final version of the drawings to the website, or lets Martina have a final copy of all the drawings?
That's what the board prefers, that's what we'll do.
Well, if they're, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we're seeing and the public sees what we're being.
Sixer, do you have the code with you?
Not with me. What are you looking?
The 475-35-1.
We're gonna
Sure.
wait till he answers the question. If not, we're gonna amend the, resolution. We got a ton of them.
The zoning about the square footage, it's,
Mr. Klein, how many units were originally part of your original plan was for, how many units were there originally? We're going up to 24. What was the original number?
right now,
Yeah.
right now it's 15 short, small units, and 3 big ones.
Okay.
And we eliminate the 3, and we make it total 24.
20, gotcha. Code.
Thank you.
You have the application there, Dave? Do you have the site plan?
Oh, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that we're uploaded to the website.
The new set.
The new set. So the drawings that we have that one that's 197, you said it was a draft, or an early draft. Let me see. Let's go. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the,
96, which was
understood.
96-20C, which was 450, and we followed that.
Gotcha.
What about square footage? So square footage is right now 150, so all the units are much more.
With bit bigger. Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying, draft. Any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Sorry, folks. Taking care of some technical, getting it right.
So the owners are exact, they're not different LLCs, or the parking lot is the same exact
Same
owner?
owner, same
Okay.
owners, yes. Like I mentioned.
Not same principles or whatever, but the same,
It's a separate deed.
Separate deed, but same
partial.
exact, okay.
But with with the bank, we have one loan, and they took this as as well as a
collateral. Like.
collateral because,
Gotcha.
works together. So if the board wants, to make add this to the lease, we could do that.
Yes, that's what I would like to do is eventually, he's checking some finer points, is that your approval will be contingent on this lot. So if you sell the property, you lose the approval, that's all.
Right, so it needs to be
You won't have
together
your short-term rentals won't be available anymore to you
without the parking.
without the parking, yes. But I'm not a lawyer.
I don't see it in here.
Okay.
So you can make it either subject to
But-
or conditioned upon cross easements.
Right. Well, he owns the property, so a cross easement isn't,
Yeah, are there two separate lots?
They're separate parcels,
Yeah,
yes, they're
so
not the
then
same
you could have
deed.
cross easements on it.
okay. So we can make it subject to him supplying that agreement. That's
Yeah.
all.
Right.
I have no issue with that.
Or the board could give a variance.
Yep.
So you'd have to amend the
Have to amend the
resolution.
resolution, yeah, that's all.
What is the lot that you own that's going to be used for parking? What's the address?
It's 53-55 Cottage.
Yes, we're gonna amend it. Okay. Before I get there.
Do you
so
need the section block and lot numbers, or?
We'll
it's
go
on-
by the address right now.
Okay.
Is it on there? Do you have the section block and log on?
Yeah, it's on the plan.
You wanna let me have it?
26-2-16, and 26-2-17.
26-2-16, 26-2-17.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, the public hearing is still open. Anyone from the public wishing to address this application, please step forward. No one stepping forward. I need a motion to close the public hearing. Mr. Higbee, second, Ms. Witt. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye. Okay, I think the board members have stated their concerns, rightly so. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to present a resolution for Norman Klein, 52 Cottage Street, 9 short-term rental units. But I'm going to ask to amend this resolution. Name of the property will be 52 Cottage Street. With the amendment, the reason for is to make sure that the parking stays with the project. The applicant to provide cross easements for 53 to 55 Cottage, 26-2-16, 26-2-17 section lot. For parking to safely meet the
To
parking requirement.
satisfy the parking
I can't read your writing. Satisfy the parking requirements of 52 Cottage Street. That is the amendment. I need a motion on the amendment. Mr. McCormick, I need a second. Mr. Higbee. Discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Higbee?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So the motion to amend has been passed. So now, on the motion to approve the amended resolution of 52 Cottage Street, 9 short-term rental units, I need a motion. Mr. McCormick, I need Ms. Witt. Is a second? Discussion? Roll call. Mr. Madden?
Yes.
Mr. McCormick?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
Yes.
Mr. Higbee?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
So the DPW, make sure you get your cross easements before you let anything take place. Okay, that's our regular voting agenda. This evening, we have a preliminary hearing, not for any action, but for future presentation and possible action at a date not yet determined. Middletown Housing Authority, 16 Genung Street and 22 Sweezy Avenue, multifamily housing improvements. Hi, how you doing?
How's everybody tonight?
Great. Please state your name for the record.
Yes, it's Tony Keys. I'm the Executive Director for Middletown Housing Authority. Can everybody hear me? This is my first time in front of a planning board, so a little nervous. So basically. Don't bite, don't be nervous. Okay.
Don't believe her.
Okay. So I wanted to thank everybody for putting us on the agenda tonight and giving us the opportunity to introduce our important project. Middletown Housing Authority identified a need for affordable housing in the community. So we had some property, some land at our existing housing. So we just tried to come up with an idea what we could do to help with this need. So we partnered with Edgemere and Repco to do a proposal to add 102 units to our existing project. It's going to be a major investment for the Housing Authority and the community to bring this many units to the community. And basically, I get off right now because I'm going to introduce Tim from Repco to give you the rest of the project and introduce the rest of our team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's Tim Allred. I'm the VP of Real Estate Development with Repco.
There's a wireless mic right there if you want to use it.
Thank you.
You just have to hit the button to turn it on.
Then I don't have to
There you go.
Nice.
crouch so much. Yes, so my job here is to introduce our team and pass it to our civil engineer, Adam, who will give a little more of a presentation of the project. I just wanted to add that, the reason that Edgemere Development, which is not represented tonight, Charlie lives in Rochester, but Charlie as Edgemere and had done work with Middletown Housing Authority some 20 years ago. When Tony saw the opportunity to bring new units, she called Edgemere up based on that past relationship, and Edgemere reached to Rupco. We're in Kingston, a little bit closer, and so we are co-developers working on behalf of Tony and the Middletown Housing Authority. Just introduce who's here with us. You're about to hear from Adam Fischel of Marathon Engineering. He's our civil engineer. Jason Simmons is architect from Hamilton, from Inex, excuse me. I got the GC confused with the architect. Next to Jason is his son, who's here visiting as a summer intern, Joey. Kevin O'Connor, CEO of Rupco, is with us, and John Capella from J&G Law as our land use attorney. I could offer a little bit more background on where we are in the project. It is, as Adam will explain in a minute, the 102 new units across the two sites and the renovation of 200 existing units across the two sites. So it's a fairly big project. We are pursuing funding through New York State, through HCR, Homes and Community Renewal, through a 4% low-income housing tax credit deal. So that is our major funding source. We have made our application, we've received feedback, and we're in the process of negotiating that with the state. I'm going to pass it on here, but we have fully completed schematic design on the architecture, and we're here tonight because we would like to move forward with the approval process. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to introduce Adam, or pass it to Adam.
Thank you, Tim. There's been mention of a project, but from the standpoint of approvals and entitlements, it's really two projects, two approvals, pathways for each project, so to speak. So here, I'm going to start with Summit Field, which is at 22 Sweezy Avenue. The proposal here is to, can you folks see that? Okay. Is to renovate the existing 99 units within the confines of the building footprints themselves largely, and construct a new 4-story 51-unit multifamily building here at the southern end of the property. Also included with the project scope is the removal of all the existing asphalt walkways and replacement with concrete walks to make those ADA accessible, updating all the ADA parking, updating all the trash receptacles, the dumpsters to make those ADA compliant and provide better screening. There's also the improvements to the recreational spaces and addition of new recreational spaces for both children ages 3 to 5, 5 to 8 on up, plus some exercise equipment for some seniors by way of these gray shaded areas here. All of those spaces will be complete with a rubberized surface to provide fall protection. That's all part of the scope. As far as access goes, access will be provided off Monaghan Avenue, just like it is today, Sweezy Avenue and Elizabeth Street and St. Louis Circle, encircle the project site. That's all going to remain. Currently, there's a large majority of the private parking that extends into the public right-of-way just by way of the lot configuration itself. It's a little odd to have a lot configured in this manner, but the existing condition is that a lot of the parking is actually located within the city right-of-way, and this is the condition for both projects. And for both projects, we're largely trying to maintain that configuration. That's discussed in one of our submittal letters. But what that does is it allows us to maintain and maximize the buffer between the parking and the existing units, and also keep the centerline alignment of the city streets as is currently provided. One amenity space that I left off my discussion here is the addition of a community garden here at the western end of the project site that'll be open to the greater community, not just the tenants of Summit Field. As noted in our submittal letter, this project does come with some asks of the city in that we need, on this project, we need 5 variances, one for the parking count, one for the maximum building length and the undulation or the offset depth along the facade of the building, the minimum front and side yard setbacks, max building height, and parking in the front yard. The biggest one here, I think, we've had some initial discussions with city staff prior to making this application. I think the biggest conversation piece here is parking. Included in our initial submission, we had retained a separate traffic engineer who specializes in all things traffic related, but also does specialize in parking demand analysis. So in their summary, their 85th percentile parking demand based on affordable housing developments such as this that have income limits. The 85th percentile parking ratio is 1.4 spaces per unit, and then the average is 1 space per unit. As far as what we are asking for and actually what is provided today, we not only solicited the parking demand analysis from the traffic specialist, but we also went out and did parking counts across the campus for a 2-week period. And during that period, we observed 97 vehicles, which is the maximum observed during those two-week period. 97 vehicles parked within the spaces provided, with an average of 75 vehicles. And then this facility actually has 74 parking permits provided by the Middletown Housing Authority. So all that to say that the city's code requirement requiring 214 spaces based on the unit distribution across the project, we are of the opinion that is excessive. It is more than what is actually warranted by the project site based on not only the parking demand analysis from our traffic engineer, but also our parking counts that we physically had done on the project site itself. So under existing conditions, Summit Field has 92 spaces at 99 units. That's about a parking ratio of 0.92 spaces per unit. Under proposed conditions, we have 178 spaces for 151 units. That results in a parking ratio of roughly 1.2 spaces per unit, which is, we feel adequate for the demands and needs of this facility based on the parking counts that we observed through our data collection, and also the parking demand analysis prepared by our traffic consultant. It doesn't meet the 85th percentile need, but it exceeds the demand analysis, the parking count analysis that we did on site itself. So that is a large parking variance that we were asking for, but at the end of the day, it exceeds the demand analysis for the actual facility under proposed conditions. So I think that's the biggest conversation piece here to have between ourselves and city staff and ultimately the ZBA. So I wanted to lead off with that one. The other one here is the maximum building length. City code allows for multifamily a maximum building length of 160 feet with undulations, 5-foot undulations along the facade every 40 feet, whereas we have a max building length of 206 feet with 19 to 14 inch undulations every 23 feet or so. So that's another variance. Here we're going 4 stories, where 3 stories, I lost my spot here, sorry. 3 stories or 35 feet is the maximum. We're at 4 stories and 44 feet 8 inches to the peak, and an average roof line height of 41 feet 10 inches. So that's the other variance that we're asking for. There are some buildings within the vicinity that have a comparable height. Granted, they're not in the same zone, but they are within the same community area, and I would say are in the same, would be within the context of considering impacts to community character. Those buildings are ranging in 4 stories to exceeding the 3.5 allowed here. Also, the other variance that we're asking for is parking in the front yard. So here, along the Sweezy Avenue, Elizabeth Street, and St. Louis Avenue, there's parking in the front yard already. That's really the only place we have available to put parking, so that's yet another variance that we're asking for. The other one that we're asking for clarification from city staff and zoning is the placement of the parking, the private parking within the city's property, the city's right-of-way. It's not clear based on the review of the zoning code whether that triggers a use and occupancy permit from the city or another area variance. So that's something we're asking for clarification from city staff on. Did I miss anything? Any other? I think that kind of covers the overall scope of the project. We have the building facades here for the proposed building, if you'd like to have those shown. I do have the architect if you want to ask questions on the building materiality, massing, and that kind of thing. But as the chairman said, we're here to gain some initial feedback from you folks before we hopefully at some point take the next step with city staff and trying to progress approvals here. Any questions? Yeah, do you want to do one at a time, or?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Summit Field, any questions, comments on Summit Field while we're here?
Just so the board knows, it's two separate projects, two separate applications. That's what he's referring to.
The additional, you are proposing additional parking in excess of what you have currently?
Correct.
And can you just point out on that drawing where the additional new parking would be?
Right, so we're adding some parking along Sweezy Avenue. We are clearly adding parking on this side of, the north side of the city street over here. And then we are adding primarily new parking along the frontages, the front facades rather, of the new building. And then we are infilling, we are reworking the entire existing parking areas along the city streets on the three sides to try to infill with more parking. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Thank you.
And I see some of the some of the spots are going to be like parallel parking spots, not pull-ins, it looks like on the top.
Yeah, we're trying to eke out as many spaces as we can while also trying to maintain the buffer between the parking and the front building, and also trying to maintain, and protect some of those more mature trees. So here, I think you're speaking of this area up here. So we could go to perpendicular and gain a few more spots, but I think that would, one, angle the cars so they're facing right into the apartment unit, but also probably lose a tree or two. So that was kind of our way of trying to mitigate that.
The proposed new building on the southeast corner, what's in that space now? Is there an existing structure or is it vacant land?
It's all vacant land. This is Summit Field. I'm just making sure I don't confuse the two sites. Right now, that is open lawn area. So available rec space, lawn area that is currently, I'd say underutilized. But this is a way of trying to increase the density on an existing facility that already has existing infrastructure. That's something I try to stress in our cover letter. It'd be one thing for the housing authority to try to acquire new land to put this new building on it to try to increase their density across the city proper, but that would stretch their staff out further. It would create more needs for additional infrastructure, whereas this is already built out. A lot of those needs are already being accompanied here. So we thought that was a better use of that area. And when I say existing space available for rec and play, we're offsetting that by creating dedicated play spaces within the facility for those age groups that I mentioned earlier. One thing I did also neglect to mention, there's an existing basketball court here that is going to remain, and then we're also adding a dedicated dog walking park on the other side of St. Louis Avenue on the other piece of property that the Housing Authority also owns.
Can you give clarity to the sections that say underground detention and bioretention area? What-
Sure.
what those are?
So that's all stormwater related. Because we're over the 1 acre threshold, we're going to need a stormwater permit from the New York State DEC. And as part of those requirements, we need to provide both peak flow attenuation or mitigation, as well as stormwater quality mitigation or cleaning that stormwater runoff that comes off both the building and some of the new paved areas. So to do that, we are creating bioretention, which is comparable to a rain garden, if folks are familiar with that term. It's basically a planted area that would take runoff, in this case largely from the building's roof area, funnel it through an area, a planted area that has a special soil media, so as the stormwater filters through the plant root structure and the soil media, it in essence filters out any pollutants from the stormwater runoff coming into that facility, and then it'll go to the underground detention area here that is going to be underground. It's a proprietary unit from StormTech. It's basically an upside down U chamber that's wrapped in stone. So you're going to have it's basically a pond underground. So at the surface you'll see a lawn planted area where kids can play on top of, but underground you'll have these chambers that'll then store the stormwater temporarily and slow it down as it then discharges from the site during a storm event.
Could you trace out the dog park again, please?
Dog park? Yeah,
Dog park.
right down here. Yep. Right now, that area is largely, there's some more mature trees in that area, correct, Tony? That we're going to be preserving. There's talks of possibly putting in a maintenance shed or a garage there for the maintenance equipment. But that area that dog park is right here. And for reference, the basketball court is right adjacent to it.
And just want to add about that we explored opportunity to extend our property to access the trail when the trails.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So the rec trail is running along the eastern side of the facility on the other side of Elizabeth Street. And from what I understand, and correct me if I'm misstating this, but either the city or the county is in the process of that project or a joint venture. There is going to be a rail trail that runs through that corridor. There already is some informal, foot trail, kind of cattle paths going through there. The plan is to ultimately get the plans for that rail trail project and coordinate at least one connection, physical connection, a walkway connection from the Summit Field facility to the rail trail once it's finished. So that'll be another recreational amenity space for tenants. Anything else on Summit Field? Okay. Sure. You folks interested in seeing the building facade? Sure.
Pardon me? Oh, they did. Yeah.
I'll hand the microphone over to Jason Simmons to talk briefly about the building facade and the massing and materiality of the building.
We'll give you the front. All right, Jason Simmons in architecture. I've been doing affordable housing for 25 years, so a lot of experience in this field. Over 4,000 affordable housing units I've taken care of. For this project, we looked at materiality to match what was existing. There's a lot of beige brick on these buildings. In addition, was complemented with siding on second floors in most cases. So what we're looking at is incorporating a large format stone along with modular brick, and then a combination of some vertical siding as well as horizontal siding, just to break up the elevation, give it some interest. We also have gables, inset gables, some projections, some shadow lines to break up the facade, kind of to what Adam's point was, because there is the restriction on facade length. This will give character to the building while not making it won't make it look as long as it is by doing these shadow lines, projections along the way. 4-story building will be have an elevator, 3 stairwells. We will be R13, so fully sprinkler building. Accessibility, we will have 3 1-bedroom and 3 2-bedroom type A units, along with HVI units. So this building would be all a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms. MEP systems, both sites we are looking at geothermal. So we are looking at advancing using advanced technology. You know, what we can gain out of it. It's very efficient. It helps reduce mechanical space by introducing geothermal into our projects and giving more space to living area. On the renovation side, this will allow us to have AC. There isn't currently AC in the units, so this will provide that amenity to the tenants, which they don't have now. And again, like I said, geothermal will help reduce overall energy costs for the tenants. Any questions on Summerfield at this time?
Will the renovations to the existing units include adding
Correct.
ACs as well?
Correct,
or-
yes.
Where did the tenants go during the renovation?
If Tony wants to speak to the movement plan.
Yes, the housing authority's gonna relocate, we're starting to hold units right now so that we can move tenants from one unit to the next when we're doing the renovations, and we do plan to hire a dedicated relocation coordinator to take care of all that.
So when this starts, what phases of time are you thinking of breaking this up as with relocation? So is it going to be like a 6-month, a year, 2-year? What are you thinking right now?
I think the overall plan is 30 months, correct?
Yeah, about 3 years.
Yeah, 30 months, I think, is what our construction company has estimated on, more so on the renovation side of it, because there is so many buildings we can do at a time, and, you know, the week transfer for people to move in and out and make availability. But the new build will be built concurrent, so the new build will eventually be finished before we're done with the renovations.
And they're both supposed to be out the unit about 66 days.
Yep.
Yes.
What is the timeline in terms of when, best case scenario, when do you start the project?
We are looking at 2027 to get our application in to HFA, and usually that's about a 3-month turnaround to get approvals, and then construction document phase is another 3 months to get that completed, and then, so ultimately, do you have what your projection was for?
Well, our projection continues.
I'm sorry, can you just use I apologize.
Sorry. Thank you. So our projection continues to be on the, say, aggressive side, a spring 2027 start. It depends on our funding, and it could easily be more like a summer 2027. So we have submitted to the state, to HFA. We've had a TA session. We've had some comments. We've resubmitted. So we're just waiting on now they're providing a construction start date.
So just one follow-up to Tony, I guess. I know you just said that you were holding over units now. How many units will come offline between now and when the project starts?
23, approximately, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to David Moore Heights, if everybody's okay with that. So David Moore Heights is the other location we're looking at doing work for the Housing Authority. This is at 116 Janung Street. So Janung Street is right here. There's a traffic signal at this intersection here, and David Moore Place encircles the campus as seen here. The existing 99 units are going to be renovated similar to the extent that we had just discussed for Summit Field. And here we are proposing a 51 unit multifamily building, but in this case, because we had more area, we are only looking at 3 stories. So there's no height variance required for David Moore Place. But it comes with some asks, comparable to what we're asking for Summit Field. Before I get into that, we're going to talk, briefly about some of the amenity spaces that we're adding. We have a new basketball court, going to be placed in this general location, comparable to Summit Field. We have dedicated recreational spaces for those separate age groups across the site, in this general location here, up here, down in this area. There's some good courtyard areas here. If anybody's been out that way, there's some good courtyard areas that we're going to try to exploit for some dedicated recreational spaces. Here, there seems to be a larger parking demand for the tenants compared to Summit Field, and I think that might partially be because of the other housing development. And forgive me, I'm blanking out.
It's true. We get a lot of people from Boulder Point.
Boulder Point, yeah. Yep. When we did the parking count, and we've been out there during the evening hours on, say, a Friday. David Moore Place on the south side, there's cars parked on both sides. Traffic speed of cars coming in and out is a problem. It could be from both tenants and non-tenants, who knows? So we're looking at trying to find ways of providing traffic calming along that section. But in essence, what we heard early on was that David Moore Place had a larger parking deficit compared to Summit Field. So here, we are at 99 units. We have 92 spaces existing, and we have 178 spaces proposed on the plan. And that gives us a greater parking ratio as compared to what's existing. I'm happy to go into some of the count data that we collected. We also had a traffic engineer do a parking demand analysis also. The 85th percentile is the same as what we were just previously discussing. The ratio, the parking ratio is the same as what we just discussed in Summit Field. But in essence, we are providing greater than the number of parking spaces that were counted to be utilized during that 2-week period when we counted the spaces here at David Moore Heights. We are providing new parking in the area up here on the north side. We're infilling some of the areas along the David Moore Place right-of-way with new parking, and we do have a dedicated parking area here. We have some infilled parking here, new parking along both facades of the new building, as well as reworking some of the parking along the south side of David Moore Place where the problem area is. In addition, we're reworking some of the parking at the community building. If folks have driven out there, the parking primarily for the community building is you nose in right off of Janung. And when I visited there, I didn't feel safe trying to back out. So we are reworking that area so that you have a dedicated driveway to pull in. And then when you're leaving, you can back out with the internal driveway instead of backing out into traffic. So there's a net loss of parking there, but we think it provides a better and safer condition for folks utilizing the community building. Similar to Summit Field, we are reworking all of the internal walkways to go from asphalt to concrete sidewalk, and we're looking at the ADA accessibility for both parking and pedestrians alike throughout the campus. Down in this area where the new parking and the new building are going to be placed, there's a community garden if you folks have been out there. The existing garden will unfortunately have to get demolished, but we do have plans to rebuild that of a comparable footprint, and also have dedicated lawn areas for children to play on in this grassed courtyard here. Similar to Summit Field, we're utilizing bioretention and underground detention for stormwater management in the same method. And here we don't have the connectivity to a rail trail But we are trying to maximize the utilization of the existing courtyard areas and really activate those areas for those age groups of children that I mentioned earlier on Summit Field and the older age groups, while also trying to preserve some of the older trees that are within those courtyards. Here we have the parking count variance, parking in the front yard variance. We have the maximum building length variance, and we also have the offset depth, parking count, front and side yard setback, and locating parking in the required yards, as well as getting clarification from city staff on parking in the right-of-way. That's an existing condition that is there today. We're trying to maintain that without reworking the center line of David Moore Place, and while also trying to maintain the buffer between the parking spaces and the existing buildings. So that's something that we're, again, not clear on whether that triggers a need for another area variance or in the city of Ithaca, it's a use and occupancy permit. I don't know if that's something that's available here in the city of Middletown, but that's something that we flagged early on that we just need some clarity on again, so. Any questions?
I was just going to mention, there's some drainage issues now, right, in that top corner of your map?
Over here?
Yeah, there's some, yeah, I mean.
That, we can look at that. Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked to city engineering in too depth about that yet, but that's, I'm sure, something that'll come up. We are trying to mitigate and maximize mitigation for what we are required to do by the state, but if there's another drainage issue, it could be a partially blocked pipe, it could be a poorly graded portion of the street. That's something that we could take note of. I appreciate you bringing that up, and I'll take it back to Mr. Tawil.
A good portion has been mitigated from the upper corner by the complex that's there now, but when you drive through there still is open land that could present a potential problem later on.
Mm-hmm.
Just to make mention of it.
Coming toward us off-site, or?
Yeah, the entryway going into the adjacent complex is
Okay.
Yeah, is that
right where
shown
your
on
hand
here?
was.
Is that entrance shown on?
Not in great detail.
No.
We can zoom out and provide that in better detail. And I
Yeah,
can
because
also-
honestly, I don't know if that's even needed, or if that's, I don't know if that was like an official, you should look into that, I don't know what that.
Sure.
It was just kind of like made into like a, because that's a city road, these are, but that is not.
Mhm.
So it's almost like a driveway, I would
Sure.
assume.
But it sounds like the drainage is coming from that development? No?
I think it's from your property.
Okay. Okay, we'll take a look at it. Thank you.
The right-of-way will have to be looked into. How many parking spots do you have in the right-of-way?
How many parking spots do we have in the right-of-way? All of them minus 42 plus 7, so 49 are partially within the right-of-way. And it's a large percentage of them on Summit Field as well.
In the right-of-way?
Partially in the right-of-way, yeah. Some are wholly in the right-of-way. The existing trash receptacle enclosures are largely within the right-of-way. So it's an existing condition, whether it's existing,
right or not.
non-conforming, I don't know how you want to classify it, but it's an existing condition that we're trying to do our best to kind of help, but really getting away from it is, I think it would be a further detriment to the tenants and the project itself to try to pull all the parking inboard and out of the right-of-way.
Just a quick question as far as the parking and this could apply for both sites. Do the proposed parking changes primarily focus on tenants, or will there be spaces designated for visitors as well?
Sure, good question. So the parking counts that we had collected over the 2-week period, the data that we had collected and noted and submitted to the city, took note of how many permitted tenant vehicles were observed and non-tenant vehicles. So those could be classified as either staff, which Tony has a good handle on how many staff are on site at a given time, or they could be visitors. So we took that into account into saying what's our total number of parking spaces on a per unit basis, but then kind of going into a more granular level to say how many spaces are needed for per unit basis when you're considering a tenant and a visitor. And we are still, the number of spaces we're providing on both facilities, both campuses rather, are in excess of the number of spaces that we noted and physically counted on site, and when we compared it to a per unit basis. It still doesn't meet the city's code, but, so we're still asking for a variance.
Is it the same ratio of 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, though? Like, are you building more 2 bedrooms, or the same ratio of existing 1 and 2 bedrooms, or?
The
Because
unit
obviously I think
distribution is
that'll.
gonna change, right. So I can go into detail for both if you'd like me to, or just leave it at that, but the unit distribution is gonna change. They're largely gonna be,
I saw it on your plan on the how many
Yeah,
1 bedrooms,
one-
but I
one,
just was
2, and
wondering
3
compared to
bedroom
like what you
units.
have now.
yeah. So, we didn't.
Additional 2 bedrooms compared to what you have now, or less, or equal?
Yeah,
or-
so the new build is, compared to Summerfield, is gonna have less 2 bedrooms and more 1 bedrooms at David Moore Heights. So the ratio, so the new build at David Moore is gonna be 33 1 bedrooms and 18 twos, whereas Summerfield's gonna be 24 ones and 27 twos. So it's gonna be a greater 2-bedroom mix at Summerfield.
And what is the existing, or don't you know that?
Existing, we have a wide range. Studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and 1 5-bedroom at the end of the day.
Really?
At Summerfield, it's studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom.
But we don't have the parking count broken down to that level of granularity on a, parking space, cars per 2-bedroom unit, cars per 1-bedroom.
No, but I just was thinking of the ratio, because
Yeah.
I think your parking's gonna be very skewed compared to your current, because if you have a 5-bedroom, it's probably still only 1 or 2 cars
I
where.
was gonna say,
you
factoring
know,
in families that may have more than one car.
Yeah,
on top
or
of
the multiple
visitors.
1 bedrooms, people might have 1 car each, which might drive your parking up.
Yeah, so like if we use, for David Moore Heights, I'm gonna kind of go down a rabbit hole here a little bit.
Yeah,
The
'cause
max
we don't have to
observed
do that tonight.
during our count, when we counted the cars on a 2-week basis, the max observed were 97 vehicles, the average was 75, and that's over the course of 99 units, okay? So if we use that same utilization ratio across 151 units, we would need 123 spaces max, or 96 spaces on average, and we are proposing 178 spaces. So definitely greater than a 1-to-1 space per unit, so that does provide a little bit of fluff for visitors, because that always is the question, right? Is on a holiday weekend, how many visitors are gonna be there? But we think we have that captured. That's in excess of 55 spaces if you're looking at a max basis, for what we physically observed during the utilization of those 2 weeks period. And that included a weekend, 2 weekends.
So you had 92 existing at David Moore. You're proposing 178 parking. What's the code? You gave us the code for Summit, but you didn't give us the code for David Moore.
It's 309 spaces for David Moore are required, and I may have misspoke for Summit Field. 296 are required for Summit Field.
You said 214.
Yep, I had the column on my paper for David Moore. I apologize.
296?
296 is required for the city code for Summit Field. 309 is required for David Moore.
Thank you.
And I think you gave us the same numbers for your.
When I started going through that, I realized I apologize.
And right, you
Yep,
said.
no,
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
If we could get out of this process, not confusing the 2 projects more than
I
twice.
know. Well, it'll be very separate once we move
Yeah.
forward, I'm
The-
sure.
The 2 projects are very similar, and I think that's where it's tough to kind of differentiate, but they are two separate and 2 different projects, so.
Are you adding any offices, non-residential?
For staff?
So the existing building, the community building at David Moore Heights is underutilized right now. So we are going to rehab that building and bring the basketball court back into access for the tenants. It had fallen out of, just for different reasons, out of use. So we're going to reconfigure that space and provide offices so that Tony can have some oversight on that site as well as Summit Field. So there is existing offices there. They're just not, the layout doesn't meet the needs of a full-time staff over there. So we're going to renovate that. There's going to be staff bathroom, and then there's going to be bathrooms and a community kitchen space for the tenants in that building as well.
And the other building?
At Summit Field?
Yeah.
Summit Field is the admin building currently for all of Middletown Housing Authority staff. But it was discussed as we were in the process of design to put offices in that would meet the function of having oversight at the other site as well. So, yes, we will have offices in the community building at David Moore Heights.
Thank you.
Are you going to have designated bus stops for the, because right now, I mean, I would assume you're going to have, a substantial number of kids are going to be, especially in your two bedrooms. I know at Summit Field right now, we only utilize one bus stop, which is by your, which we call the library, but the admin building at the end of the
You're
block.
talking school bus stop?
Yeah, school bus stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We'll take note of that. We have not had any dialogue with the school district on adding bus stops. We're anticipating maybe utilizing the stops that are there now, or having a conversation to maybe add a stop or two. But truthfully, we have not had that dialogue yet, but that's a good comment.
Is the timeline the same for David Moore Heights that it is for Summit Field? You're doing the same timeline?
Yes, just very quickly, my confusion in presenting this as one project is because it's one project for the state. It's two projects for the city. So yes, it's the same timeline.
The same timeline, okay. And the same amount of residents will be displaced, or how many residents will be displaced, Tony?
Jason or Tony?
Same number of folks displaced at David Moore Heights. There was a question.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Can you
Tony,
repeat?
how many residents will be displaced from David Moore when this timeline starts?
It's about 13 at David Moore.
13 families or 13 units? Okay.
And by the way, the units that you're renovating, you're keeping the same exact floor plans on those? Or are they changing on like your 5 bedrooms and your 4 bedroom units are all still staying? And
There's one 5-bedroom that's going to be converted into a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom. So we're creating 2 units out of a 5-bedroom.
Okay.
So one staying and the other one is being converted to gain an extra unit.
Other than that, all your 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms are all staying?
We do have one addition at Building 3 in the little nook to accommodate a 4-bedroom Type A, which was a request from HFA to make sure we had every unit type captured in our Type As. So there's some reconfiguration there to get us it's studio handicap that's being converted to a 4-bedroom handicap to meet our quote.
Yes, and then all the others are staying renovated as.
Correct. All other floor plans are staying, and especially with us adding geothermal now, it eliminates the need for mechanical closets, which would have been a challenge at David Moore Heights because of the space available to us. So it'll make it easier for us to keep the existing layouts. One difference at David Moore Heights is new boilers were just installed in the last 2 years. So those 3 boilers, 3 of the 6 are brand new. So we're going to maintain those for domestic hot water. The whole project's on a loop through all 8 buildings. So that'll maintain gas will be maintained for domestic hot water, but mechanical systems will be all geothermal.
You keep mentioning geothermal. Where will your fields be?
We're going to do borings down, we have so much open space between buildings that we can
Throughout
capture.
the property?
Correct, yes. And there's existing sheds or garages at the end of a few buildings on the perimeter, and we'll be adding a small addition on the other buildings that don't have them to accommodate the equipment for the geothermal.
Yes, sir.
I just have one question for you folks. Sure. Do we need to refer them to the to the zoning board for their variances? Or do they apply separately? Is that something we could do tonight to help expedite this process?
There,
Public hearing.
I didn't hear what you said.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
there needs to be some tweaking before it can be referred yet.
I'd like to do this, with all due respect to the process, with having 33 units coming offline. I think it would be in the interest of the city and the community to ensure that this gets moving as quickly as possible. I certainly wouldn't want to be the impediment to bringing these units online. So.
It's more than 13.
13 and 23, right?
No, it's,
Oh, sorry.
it's not an addition, that 13.
Do we need a public hearing?
In the okay.
I do agree with you.
Yeah. And apparently I can't add either, so I apologize for my poor math.
So understanding the process, we would also, ask to initiate the seeker process tonight if we could. Understand that the city's engineering consultant might have a need for additional information. If we could open up a dialogue with us and them and city staff in copy to figure out what additional information they might need to start that process. Because quite frankly, what we don't want to do, and I believe I mentioned this during our pre-application meeting, is that we don't want to go through the effort of preparing the grading, the stormwater detailed plans that would normally complete a site plan application if the variances, once they get to the ZBA, are going to, the ZBA might have an objection with one of them, and that requires a substantial redesign. So we're looking to hopefully avoid having to expend the design effort and the fees that go along with it to develop that detailed plan before we get to the zoning board. But if the city's consultant needs to have that, I'd like to have a conversation with what the minimum they might need to have to start that process.
We started that conversation. They're not ready yet to go to the ZBA. We also need a public hearing, a formal presentation to do that. But basically, they're just quite not ready to go to the ZBA yet.
Will the public hearing be scheduled? When do you anticipate them being able to get an approval from us to refer it to the ZBA?
Well, we have to look at the right-of-way because that could change their parking configuration as far as any type of variance. And look at the other variants as well to see, I believe the applicant's asking for an interpretation on one of them.
It's the parking in the right-of-way. That's the one we're asking for. We're not sure if it's another variance, so it'd be 5 and 6 variances required, or if it's just I use the example of a use and occupancy permit. That might be another pathway to go if the city has a mechanism like that. So that's the one item that we're looking to have clarification on.
Yeah, so we're going to have to look into that before they're ready to move forward.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to, on the process, I just heard something about a public hearing before we go to the ZBA. I mean, in whether it's a referral, because if we work through the building department and with you and determine we need variances, can we at least go to the ZBA for initial, or would you like us to come back here? So that's one question I would have, and we can certainly work that out through meetings with the building department or with the DPW and the town's consultants. I understand the issue of right-of-way and that it may even need city council to weigh in on the use of city property. So we'd be happy to meet and discuss that. The one other issue I wanted to just bring before the board, because it's kind of a brand-new concept that we may be under as it relates to seeker, the 2027 budget of the state included new regulations that changed the Type 2 regulations for urban areas where if you are 300 units or under, in which each project would come under, and you're served by municipal water and sewer, and you're in disturbed areas that were previously disturbed, and I believe the fields here were ball fields or basketball courts, so they may well apply as disturbed, that this may be a Type 2 action. I just want to raise the issue as we work through it. We're going to do all the environmental reviews, the traffic review, and work with it, but it's just something to keep in mind as we try to coordinate all the various city agencies and potentially state that would be involved with that. So, with that, I would just, ask the board to, we would be willing to meet with whoever we need to meet to make sure we clarify the process and work with you to make sure, we cross all the Ts, dot all the Is. So.
Anything for us before we close here tonight?
Board, do you have anything else? Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Are you ready? Any other comments? Motion to adjourn. Mr. Higbee, second. Ms. Witt, all in favor? Aye.